Now, as I've mentioned before many times, that you're necessarily not going to be constantly installing SQL servers, but you certainly need to know how to do it, because when you do the conversions or upgrades, you will certainly need to do that. So that's why I'm stressing it here. But your job will entail how to do it also. But it all depends on the environment that you're working on. If you're working on in a smaller environment, you'll wear multiple hats, where you'll probably do virtually everything, even some networking that I've worked on. If we're a mid-sized company, then it'll be mostly delegated. If you work on large companies, or in large companies, I should say, then you'll obviously have a very isolated, very job description. So here's 2014 starting up. So let's look at it and go to installation, new SQL. And again, this is, I'm going to be just accepting the defaults. So we're not going to dive into it too deeply into what we're looking at. We're just going to be going yes to virtually everything here, because as I mentioned, the installation of 2014 is not that dissimilar from 2012. So we're going to be pretty fast here and just look at the defaults. Show, make sure everything is green, and go next. We can skip that. And that's fine. I think that was just the one we just skipped. So that's not that bad, I don't think. But obviously in a production environment, you'd let it continue. All right, so it's completed. Firewall warning, don't worry about that. Just go next. Next. Again, we're going to select all, then uncheck a couple of things we don't really want, and then go next. Yeah, let's just go next. And even 2016, which is obviously out right now, has even better features than 2014's. Microsoft obviously builds upon each version. So now, as you can see here, if the requirement is missing something, then it's not going to allow me to install until I fix it. So this computer does not have a .NET Framework 3.0 service pack is required. So we'll have to install that. So how do we do that? Go to Service Manager here. Let's see if we can install that, and then we'll rerun it. And there's no need to kind of back up from the SQL installation. There's a button called Rerun. So once we've done something here, we just, let me just minimize this. Oops, where we go? Let me just minimize this right here. Okay, so here's the rerun button here. So this we need to add. Once we add it, we rerun, and then it'll start again. So let's look at what's our manager doing here. Go to Add Roles and Features. Go next, next, next. Go next because it's features that we want, and this is what it's asking for right here. So go click next, restart if it needs it, install. And hopefully this won't take that long, but now you know that if you're missing this .NETwork, which is essential for SQL Server 2014, that it needs to be installed. And this is how you install it. Actually, I'm going to pause this video probably not right now, and once this finish, hopefully we can continue with that. So let me just give it a second, see how long it'll take. If it just takes a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds, we can go. Now, obviously, you can close this feature at this point, but I like to leave it open just to visually see the progress of all the features that are being installed. So hopefully this won't take that long. And if not, then we'll just continue. So let me look at the time here. We'll just give it like 30 seconds. See what happens. All right, I think it's going to be pretty fast, so we can probably continue doing this, and then we'll rerun it. So now that we know that this particular all right, so we have a little problem here. Let's see, the installation of one or more role services failed. The source files could not be found. Try installing role services. All right, so let me pause this video. Let me look at the issue here. I don't want to waste time with you guys. And then I'll show you how we resolve that in a second. So I'll pause this and I'll be back in a second. And we're back. And after some consideration, I've decided not to go with 2014, but go with 2016. This installed a lot easier, and it had the requisites rather than 214. So I don't want to waste time in trying to figure out why the .NET did not work for that, but this has the requisites. So populate, dump 2016, the DVD in your ROM, and double click it. And I'm going to go through this process again of how to install it very quickly, because we've gone through this relatively quick. Go yes. And there's a couple of features that I do want to talk about with 2016 that 2014 does not have, so that's going to be a benefit to us anyway. So we're going to start installing this. I've already noted, if you notice here, I've got server 2 going and server 3 going with the installation of SQL 2016. And now I'm going to do it on 1, which I'm going to demonstrate to you. And I'm obviously going to take it up to the point of installation. Then I'll pause the video again, and then we'll resume when it's finished. One thing about 2016 is you'll notice, well, you may not notice actually, and I'll show you in a second. Let me go over to this one here, to 2. If you'll notice here that after the installation of SQL 2016, there's no SSMS, there's no SQL Server Management tools, there's no GUI interface, so that's kind of alarming, and trying to figure out what's going on. And in this version 2016, it's a separate installation. So when you click after I've installed the SQL Server itself, we need to install this, install SQL Management Tools, and that will allow us and go to a link to a internet site will allow us to download the executable, and I'll show you how to do that also. And then we can have the SQL SSMS. So that's kind of a feature, but this has great features, enhanced features, and that's why Microsoft has made it a separate installer. So I'll be going over that in a second also. So that's kind of an interesting idea here. So we're back on server 1. Let's see where we are. Obviously, we're still trying to upload. And again, the process of installing 2016 is no different. There's a couple of things that I want to show you that I do not want installed. A couple of reasons. A, we won't be most likely using it because it's somewhat of a senior level, or a higher level, I should say. And secondly, it requires a few requisites that I don't want to fiddle with at this point. For our purposes, it'll be fine. We're not going to be using that feature that I'm going to not enable or not download. So we'll be fine with this. And so this is in progress. And as I said, as soon as this starts, and this has a couple of great features that I do want to go over that you'll like also as a DBA. So it's very exciting for a DBA. And here we go. So let's do this. And let's see how long it takes. Now, again, it's not going to take us that long. So go to installation, go to new server standalone installation. Let's just minimize this. And again, remember, here it is. This is what we're going to have to go back to after we've installed 2016. We're going to have to install separately this installer. And one of the great features that I just know at the top of my head is that it allows the DBA to manage the environment or the SSN management through a keyboard rather than using a mouse. So that's going to be a great kind of a quick benefit. I'll use the keyboard, or we can use the keyboard to navigate a little faster than the GUI. So that's an interesting feature also. So it has other features that we'll be talking about as the installation progresses. So let's just minimize this here, and let's see what's going on. And if I look at my other two, obviously, they are being installed. This is SQL Server 3. There's 2. And then obviously we're looking at 1. And there, so go next. And as I said, we're just going to accept the defaults. So I'm just going to be very quick about it. And so can you. And by the time you've installed this, obviously I've installed SQL Server many, many times. And here, for example, here is taking the .NET 5 and it's not giving a error here, which it was in the previous version. So it's better, I think, maybe in a corruption. I don't have time to figure it out. Otherwise, I would. But obviously, everything passed here, so that's looking good. Go next. And that's fine. Go next. Install setup files. So obviously you need to be not somewhat, but you need to be connected to the internet. So I don't know if I am connected to the internet. It says I am, so that's good. But I am downloading this from the DVD, so hopefully everything will be fine. So let's see how the others are progressing. And I don't seem to have any issues with the other server 2 or server 3 at this moment in installing 2016. So let's always look at the details. So that's good. The warning is firewall. That's fine. Go next. So it looks like we're going to be able to install this. Now here is where the only thing that I want to stress, where we're not going to be selecting. Select all first, and then uncheck Polybase. We're not going to be using that. Analysis, reporting, and reporting services, SharePoint, and add-ons. So we're not going to be using a report server here. Or actually server 1. I may need that actually, so just press this one, reporting services 1, because I may be using server 1 for reporting services. So go next. This is the Polybase that needs requisites, so like a Java, and again, well, you can do that separately, but we won't be discussing Polybase query services at this point. So that looks good. This is just a warning. That's fine for our analysis. So that's fine. It's a post installation. Go next. And let's look at the other progress here. Because if this finishes in time while we're doing this, then I may show you the installation of SSMS, but I highly doubt it. It does take a little longer than previous versions, because obviously it's a little more robust than 14 and 12. So it's just taking a little more time as many features are running at the same time. So this thing now, the only thing I want to do is set the SQL Server agent to automatic, because I do want that, and everything else to manual or disabled. I don't want anything running unless so right here. Oops, and that's it. So go next. And I think at this point it's going to ask us to add current user. Mixed mode is, Windows authentication is fine. Go next. Now that was actually the SQL Service reporting services, but we'll be just having a separate course on that. So we'll discuss that at that time. Go next. And we're ready to install. So it's going to take about 15-20 minutes. So when this is finished, all they're finished, I'll come back and then we'll go to over here and we'll install this file. Well, actually, as I said, when you click on this, it takes you to the internet to a file that you can download, which I've already downloaded. And I believe it's right here in our package. So if we go to share, go to software, I've already downloaded this right here, SSMS. So we'll be starting this particular executable after the installation. So I'll see you then, and then while this is in progress. So I'll see you in a little bit when this server 1 finishes. So I'm going to just pause it here and resume later. And we're back, and as you can see, the SQL 2016 has been installed. Actually, it's been installed into server 2. Server 1 is still continuing, but you'll get to this stage, so it really doesn't matter at this point. So at this point, once you install 2016, you'll get this point, and everything is successful, so close it, and we can close this right now. As I said now, if we go to here, if you click on and you'll see right here, I don't see any tabs or any icons for SSMS. And as I said, that is a separate installation now.